Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Adam Lemerise, and with me, as always, is Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. Please feel free to leave your questions and comments in the chat below, and we'll be happy to answer them on the air. Tonight, we discuss some recent news regarding the NASCAR 2022 season, Matt White's Grid World Motorsport League update, plus the Gen 3 regulations and supercars have been pushed back again. Let's get started by discussing all the recent news that has come from the world of NASCAR.
Yes, and we have a significant amount of news to get to and analyze from NASCAR, starting with the brand new team entering the Cup Series in 2022. Team Hezebert from the Netherlands will run part-time next year in a partnership with Referral Brothers Racing. Based in Mooresville, North Carolina, the driver to number 27 Ford Mustang, the 2019 champion of the NASCAR Wheeling Euro Series, Loris Hezemans. The team participated in the next-gen car test at Charlotte Roval, as you can see right here in the photo from Team Hezebert, with Hezemans in the 1995 Indianapolis 500 champion, 1997 Formula One world champion, Jacques Villeneuve. For now, the team are committed to running all the road course events with Hezemans behind the wheel, but the schedule could potentially expand, and maybe we could see Jacques Villeneuve get behind the wheel for several races next year. And Villeneuve does have a lot of experience in stock cars. He raced for Team Penske on road course in the Xfinity Series and also competes in the NASCAR Wheeling Euro Series. Adam, is it a big deal to see a European team entering the NASCAR Cup Series?
Yes, it is. Normally we talk about IndyCar drivers coming over here to to compete in the States, but to see a team like this come over here and compete in NASCAR, it's pretty cool. To me, I guess a lot of European race fans watch American motorsports, and they all know, and they all watch IndyCar, NASCAR. Overall, when I heard this news, I was blown away. I think it's going to be pretty cool to see someone like Loris Hezemans coming over here and competing with names like Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Bubba Wallace, Chase Briscoe, among others. We don't know how he'll do, but we welcome this new team with open arms, and we say, welcome to the NASCAR Cup Series. Fully enjoy it.
Yes, I think it's really nice that we have a European team coming across the pond to the NASCAR Cup Series. I think this is huge for NASCAR, finally getting some real international flavor into the Cup Series. Loris Hezemans has been really hitting on all cylinders over across the pond in NASCAR Wheeling Euro Series. He's been able to run some select races in the Xfinity Series in the last couple of years, and it's going to be really cool to see him step up to Cup next year and see what he can do with Team Hezberg's and Reum Brothers Racing. I think it's really exciting to see a group from Europe come over and race here in America. And another team that participated in the next gen test, GMS Racing, and they announced more details related to his new Cup Series program. In the photo right here, you can see from Bob Leverum from Getty Images. GMS Racing, they're going to run full-time in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2022, charter or not, with Cup Series veteran Ty Dillon behind the wheel of the number 94 Chevrolet. And if you're wondering why GMS Racing chose to bring the 94 back to Cup, it's actually a tribute to NASCAR Hall of Famer Bill Elliott. GMS team president Mike Beam worked with Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, winning a Georgia native, started up Bill Elliott Racing in the 90s. Plus, the original Bill Elliott Racing shop is a part of GMS Racing's campus today, and GMS formed an alliance with Richard Childress Racing for its debut season in Cup. Like Team Hezebert, GMS, and Dillon participated in the test earlier this week at the Roval. Adam, is Ty Dillon the right driver to lead the GMS Cup program, and what's the historical nature of that number 94?
I think it's pretty cool to see Ty Dillon getting a full-time Cup ride in 2022. We all know how good he's done in the Xfinity Series. So getting a chance to race alongside his brother, Austin Dillon, is pretty cool. And the number 94 has a lot of historical value. Back in the day, one of Bill Elliott's sponsors was McDonald's. So we'll see where the sponsorship takes GMS Racing in 2022. But overall, this is really cool news to see another team full time in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2022.
And I'm sure Ty Dillon is very happy to sign this contract to return to the Cup Series full time in 2022. And I remember earlier this season, I think it was in the spring, he was talking about mental health and how it was hard watching the series continue on, and he's not out there racing with the rest of his competitors. And I can't imagine how hard that must have been for Ty Dillon, especially running full time in the Cup Series. Get used to that schedule, the grind of the NASCAR schedule. Then all of a sudden you're only racing a few weekends off the year. And this year, Ty Dillon, he's run part time for several teams. Did some Cup racing with Gaunt Brothers, and then our Motorsports in Xfinity, and also Joe Gibbs Racing earlier this year also in Xfinity. So Ty Dillon's gotten some opportunities, tried to make the most of that, and he's obviously worked really hard to make this deal come together with GMS Racing. And next year he'll be back full time racing against his brother Austin Dillon in the NASCAR Cup Series after spending most of this year on the sidelines. And this is really great for Ty Dillon to continue his racing career with NASCAR finishing up the road course test at Charlotte. They have other scheduled tests down the road on November 17th and 18th. They'll be testing at Charlotte again, but not on the Roval, on the mile and a half, Charlotte Oval. And then December 14th, 15th, Phoenix Raceway, January 11th through 12th at Daytona International Speedway. And this is the story that I'm really going to be watching, because NASCAR is exploring some options of allowing fans to attend. Maybe we'll see the return of preseason thunder that many fans have been asking for a long time. They want to see that return. And photo right here by James Gilbert from Getty Images on November 16th. Truck Series competitor Stuart Friesen will test the next-gen car on a dirt track called With Raceway, located in Virginia. Getting Friesen to test instead of a Cup driver means any driver entered in the Bristol Dirt Race next spring won't have an advantage of understanding how the next-gen car handles on dirt. Photo taken by Jared C. Tilton of Getty Images. Also, there's going to be a special test at the iconic Bowman Gray Stadium in order to prepare for the Busch Clash at the LA Coliseum. Definitely a lot of hype with NASCAR kicking off the 2022 season in the LA market. And also, NASCAR announced its 2022 rules package for the short tracks and road courses. Tracks like Darlington and Asheville, we're going to be going from 750 horsepower, knocking it down to 670 horsepower with a 4-inch spoiler. The bigger tracks, sticking with 550 horsepower and a big 8-inch spoiler. And the package for Daytona and Talladega still hasn't been determined yet. I have a feeling that test in January is going to determine what package they're going to bring for the 2022 Daytona 500. And a lot of fans, we hear you guys, we hear you. A lot of you have really voiced your displeasure of less horsepower on social media. And a lot of you are really deeply concerned about the direction of the sport. Is it fair to criticize the next gen car before we even see it on track in racing conditions?
Yes. Even though it's just testing right now, I think we should give the next gen. I believe we should give the next gen cars. We gotta let them see how it does. Give it a couple races next year, and we'll see what the fans like and don't like about it. Even though it was just testing, to me, those cars look really cool. All the engine sounds, and going to a single lug nut. I like it. They use a single lug nut in the Repco Supercars series as well on their tires. So it kind of reminds me of the action from Down Under. All I got to say is, from everything I've read and heard and all the videos and pictures, I like the next gen car. I don't have a problem with it. And I can't wait to see, all the testing and how it does when it comes to the Busch Clash in the LA Coliseum next year.
Yes, I think the next gen car looks wonderful as well. But just because the car looks great, as you can see right there at a test earlier this year at Daytona in the pack, just because the car looks good, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to race well. But I honestly think that it's unfair to criticize the next gen car yet before we even see it on the racetrack. And I know a lot of fans have been vocal. Like I said, they're upset with the decreased amount of horsepower going, especially at the short tracks and road courses where we're not going to have 750 anymore. We're going to be knocking it down to 670. And I totally understand your frustration there, but in my personal opinion, I want to see a cup race with the next gen car first, get several races under its belt at all those different types of tracks, and then I'll come have an opinion. If it's not good, then I'll say it right here on Grid Network. But also keep in mind that it is a new car. There might be some growing pains starting off next year, and I think we need to be fair and give NASCAR an opportunity to develop this car, and maybe 2022, the whole year, can just be like a free year for NASCAR. And if there's any issues, come back 2023. Maybe that will be the real test. As I always say on these programs, we'll just have to wait and see. And this morning, Kyle Busch Motorsports announced John Hunter Nemechek will return to the number 4 Toyota Tundra next year in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. And this move really caught some people by surprise, because after such a dominant year in trucks this year, and Harrison Burton leaving Xfinity Series to go drive for the Wood Brothers in Cup in 2022, replacing Harrison Burton in number 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Xfinity ride seemed like a reasonable destination for John Hunter, but instead, another year of truck racing. Adam, were you surprised by Nemechek staying at KBM in 2022?
Yes, I certainly was. To me, John Hunter Nemechek has proven that he deserves a full-time ride in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He's a very competitive driver, and his father, legendary NASCAR driver Joe Nemechek, I know is very proud of him. But I think, to me, John Hunter Nemechek needs to, I know he's been really competitive in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series this year, but I believe it's time that he got a shot full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series to see how he would do. I believe he would be very competitive, win races, and compete for championships. Yeah. But I was really shocked at this news when I heard that JHM, or John Hunter Nemechek, would be staying in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports.
Yes, this news really caught me by surprise as well this morning, because, like many others, I thought it seemed like John Hunter would definitely be in the Xfinity Series next year, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing in one of their cars. But to see the announcement this morning, him coming back to Kyle Busch Motorsports, that really shocked me. I'll admit I did not see that coming at all. But I do think of what John Hunter said earlier this year, that it doesn't matter the series, he wants to be in a ride that can win and compete for championships, and that's exactly what he's doing right now in that number 4 for Kyle Busch, and it seems like he's the overall favorite to win that championship this year in the Truck Series. And if he wins the championship this year, he can try to go back to back next year. And as we know, Kyle Busch always brings fast Toyota Tundras to the racetrack, and he'll definitely be in the great equipment to succeed once again for the second consecutive year. And I'm sure there's going to be future opportunities for John Hunter Nemechek to move up to the Xfinity Series, or even return to the NASCAR Cup Series down the road, whether it's with Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota, or whoever, because John Hunter Nemechek is a really talented race car driver. He took a big risk betting on himself coming back down to the Truck Series, but it's really paying off now, in position to potentially compete and win a championship. And I think at the end of the day, that's really what he wants to do as a race car driver. You don't necessarily need to be in the Cup Series. As long as you're having fun and a high quality ride, you can go out there and compete. That's all John Hunter Nemechek really cares about.
That's right, Kobe. And we have some really cool news that came out earlier today. Former NASCAR Cup Series driver Tony Stewart has announced that he will be an NHRA owner National Hot Rod Association. Now, normally we don't talk about the NHRA or drag racing here on Grid Network, but it's significant news because of the name Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart Racing will have 2 full-time entries, a top fuel dragster, which will be driven by his fiancée, Leah Pruitt, and a funny car driven by former champion Matt Hagan. Last year in Las Vegas, Nevada, Tony Stewart had a private test session where he got the chance to drive a top fuel dragster at over 300 miles an hour. I think it's pretty cool to see a name like Tony Stewart compete in a series that has had well-known names in the past, like John Force, Eddie Hill, Kenny Bernstein, and Bob Glidden. Overall, I believe that those teams will be competing for championships and race wins in the future.
It's definitely pretty cool seeing Tony Stewart enter an NHRA, and I'll admit I did not see that coming at all. And I really like to see Tony Stewart compete in at least one NHRA event in the future. I think that would be a lot of fun for him. I know Kurt Busch did that previously. I know he had a blast in that, and maybe we could see Smoke going the fastest we've ever seen him go before. So definitely really great news for NHRA having a household name, Tony Stewart, fielding a 2-car team, one for Leah Pruitt, his fiance, and then I'm really shocked he was able to get Matt Hagan on board, considering all that he's accomplished in NHRA. And next, moving on to a different story, Marshall Pruitt from Racer.com reported that Ernie Francis Jr. will test an Indy Lights car at the IMS Road Course with Force Indy. The team has an alliance with Team Penske, a part of IndyCar's Race for Equality and Change Diversity program. Force Indy competed in the USF 2000 Championship this year with young racer Miles Rowe. Next year, the team could potentially step up to Indy Lights competition, depending on how things fall into place. Ernie Francis Jr. is well known for his multiple Trans Am championships and race wins. He's been racing in Formula Regional Americas this year in open wheel competition, been very impressive in winning several races. But most race fans really remember him on the national stage from the summer when he competed in the Camping World SRX Series. He ran extremely well against some of the most accomplished racers in motorsports and got a victory at Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis. Ernie Francis Jr. has definitely shown a lot of versatility in his young career, and we'll have to see where this Indy Lights test takes his racing career. Next, here's Matt White with a Grid World Motorsport League update.
Hi everyone, Matt White here from the Grid World Motorsport League. Time for our weekly update from the Grid WML week 33 of scoring this week. We're closing in on our final stretch towards crowning our third champion in the Grid World Motorsport League. And we've had a change of leader for the first time in a couple of weeks. Timmy Hansen has slipped from the lead to third after his worst result of the season at Spa in the World Rallycross Championship this past weekend. He came fourth in the final, so he slipped from the lead to third, which puts Nicholas Maulini back on top of the standings, the LMP3 championship leader in the European Le Mans Series. He's got one more race to go in a couple of weeks' time at Portimao, so he's definitely guaranteed a top 10 finish. Can he hold on? This is the fourth time he's led the championship. Can he hold on to secure the championship come the end of the year? Shane Van Gisbergen is back up into second position as well. Supercars back in action in a couple of weeks' time with their 4 races in 4 rounds in 4 weeks at Sydney Motorsport Park. That's going to be a cracker, so we should expect to see Shane's points tally change quite significantly as we go into November, and then the big one, of course, at Bathurst at the end of the year. You did notice there a new name in the top 10, Zachary Robichon, the IMSA GTD points leader for the FAF Porsche team. He and Lawrence Vanfor. Zachary up into the top 10. He replaced Lewis Hamilton, who jumped back into the top 10 last week. Didn't have an update for you last week, but Lewis jumped back in at the expense of some people. And now after Turkey at the weekend, Lewis has slipped back out. Max Verstappen still our F1 leader, 8th overall in the Grid WML. Next week we'll have week 34's update. We'll bring that to you on the show. For now though, it's back to the rest of the gang.
First, we're going to see the Gen 3 Supercars compete at the beginning of the 2022 season. Then it got postponed to the final half of 2022. Now, changes once again with the global pandemic. having forced the race debut of the Gen 3 era to be pushed back to 2023. However, fans will be able to see the new cars at planned on-track exhibitions and testing at many Repco Supercars Championship events next year. Adam, in your honest opinion, was it the right decision to simply postpone Gen 3 to 2023?
Yes, it was. I believe it was the right decision that the Repco Supercar Championship made because of this global pandemic. From everything that's been said, even though Jamie Whincup won't be able to compete in these cars, I believe it will give an equal playing field to the entire Repco Supercars Championship field in 2023. Do we know who will win races, championships? No, but from everything that fans have seen regarding pictures of what some of the liveries could look like, the 2023 Repco Supercars Championship is going to be intense with the Chevrolet Camaro and the Ford Mustang, two iconic cars based here in the United States. So we may see a lot more American fans tuning in to see the racing from down under.
Yes, Chevy Ford and the new era gonna be very, very, very exciting time for supercars fans. Maybe, like you said, Adam, maybe we'll see a lot more American fans interested with the Chevy Camaro and the Ford Mustang, two American muscle cars that people all across this country love to see. And while a lot of fans might be disappointed that you're gonna have to wait a little while longer to see the cars in racing conditions, the Gen 3 supercars, it's probably for the best because if they're not gonna be 100% ready to go by the second half of next season, the best decision is just postpone 2023. Make sure you get it right because you don't want to get out there in a car that's not completely ready and then just completely embarrass yourself in the entire series. So it was a hard decision, but definitely the right decision to do more tests and make sure you nail absolutely everything on your list. And 2023, all the fans will be rewarded by seeing these gorgeous looking new race cars. And we're just a couple of weeks away from supercars resuming their season. We haven't seen them on track since July, getting ready for several weeks of racing at Sydney Motorsport Park, as Matt White from the Great Wall Motorsport League mentioned. And then we'll be on to the great race, the iconic Bathurst 1000. During the long, super extended, and unexpected summer break, what have the teams and drivers been up to, Adam? Are they itching to go back racing?
Well, a lot of these drivers have competed in the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series. Names like Brody Kostecki, Anton DePasquale, Will Davison, among others. Even though it was simulation, you still got them, getting ready for the rest of the season. And it's not just drivers that are itching to get back to the track. It's fans. I can say I've got a lot of friends who live in Australia, and they're itching also to see the Repco Supercars Championship back in action at Sydney Motorsports Park. All these drivers and teams are well rested, and now it's a fight to the finish. Can Shane Van Gisbergen keep his championship lead? How will his teammate Jamie Whincup do? What about the drivers of Dick Johnson Racing, Will Davison, and Anton DePasquale? What about names like Mark Winterbottom and Chaz Monster? They're all itching and ready to get back on track at the end of the month at Sydney Motorsports Park. And we'll recap all the Supercars action right here on Grid Network. So stay tuned and see how everything develops for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I can't wait to see all these supercars competitors knock off all the rust because this is just like another off season for them in the middle of the season, and a lot of these drivers are gonna be rusty. They haven't been back in the cars in a while in racing conditions, and I know I've said this before. It's gonna be interesting to see how Shane Van Gisbergen comes out of the gates after being out of competition for a while? Is he going to continue the same domination, or could we see the championship potentially shake up with some other competitors getting back into the mix? I know it's Shane Van Gisbergen is obviously the overwhelming favorite to win the championship right now, but before the shutdown happened down under, Shane Van Gisbergen definitely hit it on all cylinders, and he was almost perfect out there while everybody else was playing a game of catch up, and with the long months break, time for Shane Van Gisbergen to get out of that rhythm and chemistry with his team. And in a way, going to Sydney Motorsport Park, I think a lot of these teams and drivers have to be thinking that we can start a brand new season right here, and we can potentially try and attempt and make a run at Shane Van Gisbergen for the championship. I still think Shane is going to be really tough to beat, but those just behind him in the points, I'm sure a lot of fans would love to see this championship go all the way down to the season finale at Mount Panorama. Now it's time for everyone's favorite game: pick a winner.
That's right, Kobe. And first off, we're going to head to the beautiful country of Spain, where the World Rally Championship is having the Rally de Catalunya this weekend. So I'll start with you, Kobe. At the end of it all, who wins?
For once, I'm not going to go with the easy pick, and that easy pick is Sebastian Ogier. I'm actually going to go with another driver. I think it's going to be Kalle Rovanperä winning Rally de Catalunya.
And I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Alvin Evans from Great Britain takes the Rally de Catalunya. And due to prior commitments, I will not be available on the show Saturday. So I'm going to say my pick for the NASCAR Cup Series Sunday at Texas. Joe's going to like me because I'm going to go with Kyle Larson to win. I believe the championship is going to go down to the end. So I'm going to ride Joe's coattail, and I'm going to say Kyle Larson wins the NASCAR Cup Series race Sunday afternoon at Texas.
Yes, Kyle Larson is definitely going to be the popular pick this weekend at Texas. I have a feeling, especially the season he's had, the momentum and his performance in the All-Star race at Texas earlier this year. Definitely think Kyle Larson is going to be one of the favorites to win this weekend, and probably a favorite to win every weekend for the remainder of the season. With that said, with another episode of Grit Tonight's in the books, please be sure to like and subscribe to Grit Network here on YouTube. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We encourage you to visit our Patreon page. Take 5 minutes after the show, look at our Patreon and invest in us like Colin, Mark, DeShell, and Robin did. We definitely appreciate our wonderful Patreon supporters for your amazing support, keeping Grid Network on the air long term. Be sure to check out Pablo's. Please consider spoiling your furry friend. They have dog leashes, clothing, and accessories for dogs of all sizes. 10% of your purchase goes towards helping homeless, sick, and rescue dogs. Please visit public.com, the stock market social media home. The link below and referral code gives you $5 to invest immediately. Public.com allows you to connect with your friends. You have a great opportunity to make new friends, and you can use tools to learn how to properly invest in the stock market. And yesterday, I published my first article in a mainstream media outlet, Insider Incorporated, aka Business Insider, in the Insider Sports section about the true meaning behind Bubba Wallace's historic win at Talladega and what having a black driver means to the black community as a whole in the future of NASCAR diversity. Be sure to read my piece. You can check that out in the video description below. And the Getty Images photo right here was taken by photographer Chris Grayson. And make sure you watch this morning's episode of the Women Racing to Win with Joe Samdiego and Daniel Zeri from Racers, the Girls Behind the Helmet. Joe and Daniel always do a great job on that Thursday morning show, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Pacific. And then Saturday, we're going to be back on the air for Grit Live pre-race. And Sunday, Grit Live wrap-up, 90 minutes after the NASCAR Cup Series race at Texas Motor Speedway. For Adam Lemerise, I'm Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest. Start investing and networking on public.com.